Hey, I am Alice Keeler and I love spreadsheets and I love customizing Google Sheets. So I saw a request for someone who wanted to be able to duplicate a row or duplicate a column in Google Sheets. So they were pointing out when you went to the insert menu, the edit menu, there was no option to duplicate a row or column. You could insert a column, a blank column, and you can copy and paste over, but wanted to have something a little easier than that. So I created a little bit of code. To be honest, I used Google Gemini to write it for me. I do know how to write it, so I was able to check it, make sure it looks good, but also helped me make it really quickly and share it with you. So here is how it works. So the first thing is you're going to want to come over here to the Tiller community because that is where I saved it. If you are new to the Tiller community, you're going to go to community.tiller.com. And this is just a great place to share questions about Tiller, your love of Tiller, and your custom solutions for Tiller. So you can see here in the Tiller community, if you come down, there is a section called spreadsheets. Now, to navigate, you can just click here on community. So it brought me back. So I'm back here on this spreadsheet section, and you can see that there is a G Sheets templates. So that is where I shared that. So I'm going to click on that. You can also get there just by clicking on spreadsheets, and you can see that the subtopics are listed right there on the spreadsheets page. So again, the G Sheets templates. It probably is not going to be this first one, duplicate rows and columns, but you can certainly search for that. So we're going to duplicate rows and columns, and I made an unofficial add-on. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link. Now, clicking on this link is going to show you my Google Apps script code that I've saved in Google Drive. You're not going to be able to run it from here. Things that you should notice. Let's zoom in. It says it works only on the current doc or spreadsheet document. So you know it's going to be safe because it can only do action on your current sheet. Now, when you are using someone else's code, please review it. So take a look through. One thing I love about Google Apps Script is how readable it is. This is just the menu. So it says duplicate the row above. We're going to take the sheet, get the active spreadsheet, get the active sheet, find the current row, get the row, insert the row, and then it's going to get the range and paste it. So that's all it's doing is just copy and pasting. So you can see right here, all it's doing is duplicating the row. And if you look through each of these different functions, there's nothing giving anybody permission to your data. So this is going to be something really safe to use. But you're going to want to Control A, select all, Control C, copy. Since you can't run it from here, you're going to need to go to your spreadsheet. Now I made a copy of a demo spreadsheet that I have, and the key is the extensions menu. Now the extensions menu has this option for app scripts. That's what I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing with you some app script code. And you're just going to go ahead, extensions menu, app script. It's going to have a default function in there. You can ignore it and paste below it if you want. Or I like to just delete everything and paste. Either way, you're going to paste all of that code that I shared with you right into this project. Now, notice up here where it says untitled project. I recommend that you don't leave it untitled project. So I'm going to rename it to duplicate and call it whatever you want. Okay, save. Save. You want to click the little save disk icon. So it's saved. And once you've saved it, it says run. So we're going to go ahead and run this. And it's going to ask me to authorize the add-on. Now you are authorizing yourself. You've pasted this into your own spreadsheet. You look through the code and you notice there is nothing malicious happening. It's not sharing any information with an outside party. It is only acting on this current spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and run. Review the permissions. A little pop-up came up that you can't see. So I'm just saying, okay, and continue. And it says that it's executed. Now, all that it's executed is the on open menu. So when I come back to my spreadsheet, you can close that. That's the last you need to look at it. Last you need to look at it. Now you're back in your spreadsheet. You'll see here that I have this option for duplicate, and you'll find it also under the extensions menu all the way down here at the bottom to demonstrate that it is an unofficial add-on and has that duplicate menu. So I'll do it from the top here because it'll be easier to read. they say the same thing. So under duplicate, I have duplicate row. I can duplicate above, I can duplicate below, duplicate to the top of the sheet, or duplicate to the bottom of the sheet. And for column, I can duplicate to the left of the selected column, to the right, to the front, or to the end. So let's just try that out for funsies. I really wouldn't recommend this on your tiller transaction sheet because each transaction has a unique ID number. So unless you're going to edit that ID number, do be careful of that. So you can see here it says LifeWise. I'm just going to select any row, and I'm going to come up, duplicate row, and choose duplicate above. Now now there's no spinny wheel. Depending on the speed of your internet, it's going to depend on how fast you can do this. But you can see that it did duplicate that right above, right there in the spreadsheet. Now just for funsies, I'm going to come down here to this flying fish, and I'm going to change the font to Comic Sans. I'm going to make it hot pink with a light yellow background. And I'm going to make this one bold. And the only reason I'm going to do that is to emphasize that it is duplicating the whole row, including the formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit duplicate the row, and choose below. And you can see that it has inserted it below the active row where I have selected. Now I do have it set that when you do it to the top of the sheet, if you have a frozen row, it is going to it considers the top to be below your headers. So if you've frozen your head, if you've frozen your column headers, it is not going to go above those and become the column header. So you can see it actually inserted into row 2, as opposed to, let me show you this. I'm just going to add a new sheet, just added a new blank sheet. And I'm going to insert a row above, and this is like date and description of cost. And so now I'm going to change this to a blue font just to demonstrate. And I'm going to duplicate it to the top of the sheet. And you'll see that actually will go to row 1 because I didn't freeze the first row, which is, if you know me, my number one rule when using a spreadsheet: freeze the first row. All right, so you can see that it does that. So I'm going to come back here to my transaction sheet. This is not something I would recommend, but you can also duplicate the columns. So I'm going to duplicate to the left. I'm going to have the exact same group, duplicated it, worked. And I'm going to go ahead and freeze 3 columns. So as I come through here, you see that I have the first 3 columns frozen. And now I'm going to duplicate this column of the account. I'm going to duplicate it to the front of the sheet. Now, normally that would put it at column A, but because I have frozen 3 columns, you'll see that it's going to insert it here into column D, right where it is frozen. So hopefully that's really helpful to you. You may or may not want this in your teller spreadsheet. It has some limited functionality on the transaction sheet, but that's up to you. If it will be helpful to you on the transaction sheet, awesome. But what's really great about Teller is that you can customize and you can add your own sheets. And so in that case, it might make a lot of sense to duplicate some rows and columns. So I hope this unofficial add-on really saves you time. And you can paste it into any spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be your Teller spreadsheet.